Om Shanti, everyone, and Maria, thank you for the warm welcome. It's really lovely to be with the family in this part of the world, Baba's Middle Eastern family, and wherever else everyone's coming from. Yes, it is the gift of science to the Brahmin family at this time that we can connect. It's such a lovely topic. When I really started unpacking it, um, it it made me realize that the gift of all of us within the confluence age is really that we can we can rise above what's happening in the drama and really begin to experience living in that flying mode. But as I was reflecting on it, I remembered an incident. It was in 1995. It was during the time when we had, the first Mount Abu dialogues, where we were inviting people from different parts of the world to Madhuban. And from South Africa, we had a very close friend of ours who was an Anglican priest, Father John Oliver, who had come for that dialogue. And he stayed on after the dialogue. And having had special permission, he also ended up meeting Bab Dada. And Baba's Murli that time, so it was maybe early March 95, Baba highlighted in that Murli, don't say why, but fly. So it's a phrase that we've often heard from Baba. But why I'm remembering that story is because the very next day after Bab Dada's meeting, he got a message. It was a fax that was sent to him that his sister, who was living in England, who was a nun, had just passed away because she met in a car accident. And so as we were standing with him and just, comforting him, he remembered, don't say why, but fly. So it was a very poignant or important moment in the drama that way, because it was a lesson that he had to inculcate immediately. And it was something we all remembered. And as I said, it left a deep impression for me as well, that how important it is that we don't get entangled in the drama and remain above it. To really stay in the flying mode, I think the first thing that we have to do is the groundwork. We can't fly until we do the groundwork. And for me, the groundwork has been really to clean the heart out. It's something that Baba has been emphasizing to all of us in the recent Avyak Murlis. But really, if there's any sorrow that is sitting in the heart, it's like gravity. It will pull you. It's like the mind gets pulled to what is sitting in the heart. And throughout our journey, in a way, before coming to Baba, even after coming to Baba, sometimes we've had different experiences and impressions, and without realizing, it is sitting in our hearts. Am I going too fast? Must I slow down? Okay.
Yes, a little slow.
Okay. Sorry. So we find that there are things sitting in our hearts, impressions and sorrow. And so the important work, the groundwork that we have to do is to clear that. And how do we clear the heart? Is a whole class of its own. But I do find is that it's really to give time to reframe that experience. And when I am saying reframe the experience, I'm meaning it's like apply gyan to that experience so that that emotion that I that got triggered at that time begins to become, less of a focus. It begins to dissolve. If I don't apply gyan to it, it's like the weight of that emotion continues to sit in the heart. And so we have to take time to see what is sitting in the heart and give it the attention to clean it. What also made me realize the importance of this inner work, this inner cleansing that we have to do was I had joined Sarah Eager for a retreat in Madhuban a good few years back, which she did on self-compassion. And Sarah said something, it was the tea break, and she said something that really made me realize the importance of doing this inner work. And she said that if we don't clear our own hearts of sorrow, towards the end, when we will see others experiencing sorrow, we will identify with it and it will then pull us. So therefore, until we clean it in ourselves, seeing the sorrow around us, it will not pull us, but we will be able to remain detached. So the work we need to do now, taking Baba's help, really using Baba's Gyan, is so that we shift these feelings out and that we create understanding and lightness within. The other aspect that I was also thinking of recently, and it was Murli that Baba shared, it was a point in a Murli that Baba shared a while back. And Baba said, he gave 3 steps. And he said, no, accept, and then move along. And for me, it was like, it's like, I know, okay, that is it. That what has happened. This is the sanskara. This is the trigger, whatever it is. Understand it, know it. But then the important part is acceptance of it. And what happens to many of us is that sometimes we get caught up in the trap of trying to analyze the sanskara or analyze the situation, analyze the motivation. And that sanskara of analyzing tends to entangle us more and more and more, doesn't release us. So this thing of acceptance is that is just the way it is. It's like a deep awareness we need to have that get out of this thinking of right and wrong and good and bad, which can easily get triggered, and just to say, this is what it is. Now, how do I apply myself? How do I move forward in this situation? So for me, that is another thing to help, when to protect myself from getting caught up in feelings that are not elevated and pure, because those feelings are like dust that collects in the heart. And what happens is it pulls the mind. So when I want to sit and have yoga and connect with Baba, I will find that I get pulled because of what is sitting in the heart. So therefore, that groundwork is important. So the next thing, or if I want to fly and live in the flight mode in a way, the next thing is I have to build momentum. I have to build that stamina, that enthusiasm, that energy within me. And for me, it's always coming back to basics. It's the basics of paying attention to my Amrit Vela, paying attention to Murli class, my traffic controls, my practice of soul consciousness, making time for study, and making sure that the intellect is like rich inside, because I'm exploring Baba's Gyan. I'm expanding it in my own consciousness. That is what builds enthusiasm. And so I've always, Baba says that how enthusiasm is like the breath of Brahman life. But enthusiasm is self-generated. It doesn't happen just by itself. So how do I generate that enthusiasm? Ultimately, it is by churning and experimentation, because churning will, expand the understanding in the intellect, will give me new insights and nuances to Baba's Gyan, which then stimulates me inside. But it is experimentation and practice in a way that creates experience. And so this practice and experimentation then is what then begins to create experience, and then experience builds enthusiasm. So that's the momentum that I have to build in myself. If I don't do this, then there isn't energy to to fly. I need energy to fly. I need that energy to take off even. So the groundwork is cleaning up the heart, and then to build momentum is really getting back to basics and really paying that deeper attention on the self, in terms of, keeping that enthusiasm within. And we've all had the experience of observing Dadi Janki, especially those of us who've been to Madhuban or London. And, whenever you would walk into Dadi's room, she was always, reading a Murli or reading something or reflecting on something. Dadi was the perfect example of a student. And that is why her enthusiasm was always so high. And it overflowed then, it gave all of us so much of enthusiasm. And Daddy also loved it when we would ask her questions and engage with her, because that in itself would generate new insights and new awareness, etc. So building that momentum, and I think it's something to really pay attention to, because sometimes the ego can be, playing games with us. And one of the traps of ego is when it makes us think that I know, I know it. But actually, we don't know anything in a way. It's a constant process of discovery and rediscovery and newness. I mean, if we just think about soul consciousness itself, yes, we've understood it to some point, we've experienced it to some point, but there's so much more depth that we can still exploit. So just to always keep that freshness in attitude towards my study alive. And I've observed that that is what really sustains me, but also that is what allows me to keep feeling that I'm moving forward. Then the next thing I was thinking of, so we build the momentum, and then after we build the momentum, we have to take off, right? So what is it that helps us to take off? What is it that helps us to lift up from gravity and move above gravity, to defy gravity, to be beyond the influence of gravity in a way? And one thing that I feel that helps me to go beyond the pull of the old is faith. And faith in that which is subtle, faith in that which is incognito, and of course, faith in Baba, faith in drama, faith in my part, which is another very interesting aspect as well. Faith in my fortune, because it's almost like this faith in the invisible is what takes me away from the pull of the corporeal and opens up the soul. That's what helps me to take off. Because as long as I'm operating in what I have created as a, the old way of working in terms of what is visible and what are the structures in which I'm functioning and feeling secure in that, it's like I don't allow myself for that deeper connection, that deeper aspect that Baba is waiting to give me, that I, the soul, am worthy to experience as well. While I'm just remembering something, we had Sister Chandrika, who's from Ahmedabad, with us a few months ago. And in a conversation with her, she shared something that touched my heart a lot. And she said that always remember that we are so precious to God. And it was a simple statement, but the way she said it left such a deep impression that, that faith in Baba's drishti of me. So that no matter what I face in the drama, it becomes so little and insignificant when I put it in front of Baba's vision of me and what I mean to God. It's not a small thing that we have all dedicated our lives to Baba's work and into this process of world transformation. We are little world, as Baba described in Sunday's Murli, the small little Brahman world that is swimming against the tide of the intensity of Kali Yuga at its peak. And so we mean a lot to God, because we are the souls that God can work through. So do I hold that in my awareness? Do I have faith? Yes, I am that precious soul that God has so much of faith in, and trust in as well. So I feel it's like holding that awareness, which is subtle, and trusting it at a deep level is what helps the soul to go beyond the pulls and the doubts that come in because of scenes in the drama as they unfold. It's like we have to, in some ways, let our faith be greater than the scenes of the drama. That the scenes of the drama become small, and let my faith in my future, the faith in the new world, be greater in my consciousness. So that's when I can really take off, when that is greater and higher and more prominent in my consciousness than the drama itself. Then to stay in the flight mode, living in the flight mode. Once I take off, to stay in the air, to stay high. And for me, it has been a number of things. I think to remain high and to feel that I'm being carried, because it's like when an aeroplane is flying, it's the current of the wind that's carrying it in a way. Once it's taken off, then it glides, and then it's the wind, the current of the wind that carries it. And so for me, I was thinking that it's really about surrender. Surrendering to Baba and surrendering to how drama unfolds as well. And it's connected with faith, but faith leads to that surrender in a way. And when there is that level of surrender, for me, couple of things that I think have been important. One is that when there is that faith and surrender, then how I know I'm surrendered is that I'm patient. It's like I'm not trying to make the drama move in the direction that I think it should be moving. But it's like I have a quietness inside then. And I know, it's like I know what I know that whatever is going to unfold will be of benefit. And so it just allows for that patience, the patience to see how it will unfold at its right time, and not try to push my own energy to make it happen. And I wanted to share, a recent experience with regards to this. We had Sister Shivani visiting us recently for a night, and it was part of the Africa's 50th anniversary celebrations. So she came to South Africa for one night as well. And what had happened, it was just drama really, that her visa to come to South Africa got rejected twice. And of course, there was a little bit of an experience that what's going to happen now and what we're going to do now. And I remember, just saying, okay, what are the things I can do? I contacted the Indian consulate. I contacted someone who used to work for the Department of Home Affairs previously. So I did all the practical things that needed to be done. And looked at their reason for rejecting the visa, got extra letters and whatever the case was. But at the end of the day, together with the practical things, we also as a family said, well, we do the practical things, but we also need to just have collective yoga. And it was beautiful because everyone, as we were sitting for collective yoga, just created the vision of seeing Shivani Ben amongst us. So there wasn't a feeling of fear or doubt or anxiety, but it was like the family was invoking that scene in a way. And so she came and it all was fine, but I felt that in that scene, drama was asking for something different from all of us. Drama was asking for a collective, unified energy within the family in terms of yoga and in terms of the energy at a more subtle level. And it was like almost when you surrender in a way, you don't question why, but if there's that quietness inside, you are open to signals. And you don't see drama as testing you, but you see drama as offering you a way of flying, a way of moving forward. And I think that's a deep shift in attitude of just being very present inside, connected to Baba, um, surrendering to however Baba wants to use this moment, to use the soul, whatever the case may be, and just watching how different times, different signals will come. And am I catching those signals that Baba's giving or that drama is offering? Because if I catch those signals, then even while I'm flying and there's turbulence in the atmosphere, it doesn't change my flight. It doesn't stop my flight. It doesn't become an obstacle. Obstacles are the way I think about drama. Obstacles are about how I think about sanskaras. But if I just remain surrendered to, let me stay in tune with what is this moment asking for? What is this scene asking of us to create as a family? Then there's only like benefit, not just benefit, but beauty that you see emerging on that subtle level. And so for me, that was the key lesson, that when I surrender, it means that I'm not trying to think the way I think the drama should be. That whole aspect of should goes away. But I learned to become more in tune with Baba, in tune with drama, in tune with the need in the family. And it will then create the right energy for us in that way. Someone put it very nicely once in one of the other workshops I was joining in, and said that drama is a co-creator with Baba and I. And I like that in a way, that drama's not an energy separate, but drama is our co-creation with Baba. So it's just like embracing that awareness of just knowing that whatever happens is because there is some significance and subtle input that is being asked of us. It's not the obvious, it's not so much the corporeal, but subtly something is pulling us to operate from a higher level, from a deeper level, from a more yogi level, and not so much into this thing of getting caught in activity. Now we have to perform actions. We have to do the practical things, but it's like doing it with a different attitude, that it's not the outcome of the activity that is reflecting the stage, but it's the stage that begins to feed into the activity. And that is an important shift that we need to constantly remind ourselves with. Because in body consciousness, we let the outcome of actions define us. And many times we end up letting service define us as well. And we have to be attentive to this, that to know that service doesn't define us, but am I really tuning in to what Baba and Rama wants of me right now? What is the need in the family right now? And then coming from that subtle energy and connection. The next aspect that I also liked about staying in flight mode and that is being light. Lightness is key. And to create that lightness, one is really the practice of the drill that Baba gives us, whether it's the drill of the 5 forms, whether it's the drill of being an angel, but it's like again and again asking myself, to what extent am I melting this body consciousness and just becoming that light that I am as a soul. So really the practice of the drill is what helps to create that lightness. And a trap that we sometimes get caught up in, and it's something I noticed in myself, a while back, and that is sometimes it's like we try to think ourselves out of our sanskaras, but thinking doesn't take us out of our sanskaras. It just enables us to almost, in a way, get even more entrapped in the sanskara. And so, therefore, it's the practices. It's the practices of Baba's drills that he's given us, of soul consciousness, of the bodiless stage, the angelic stage. It's those practices that helps us to almost release ourselves from the influence of sanskaras. I have to feel differently to be beyond the old way of doing and thinking. So one aspect is lightness coming through that practice. Another attitude which I have found very helpful, and that is about being an instrument. And we've heard this many times, but really, do I make myself present and available? When I used to do Lokik work many years ago, and then I decided to, had a chat with Dadi, and then I stopped Lokik work and was full-time in the center. And when I was full-time in the center, then I started to think, okay, Baba, I'm gonna start this project and then do this project and then the other project. And, I felt I needed to like fill my time with all these different projects and service ideas that were mushrooming in my mind. And I remember like I was like trying to do it, but it wasn't like taking off. It was something, the energy just wouldn't go forward as I had hoped it to go forward. And I remember, just having this realization that instead of trying to make all of this happen, just be available. And being available was keeping the mind quiet, staying focused, being aware. And it's almost like being available, it's like how Baba wants to use your energy will present itself in front of you. And instead of trying to fill my time, almost in a way, it's like be available, be present. And then you are moved by how Baba and Rama wants you to apply yourself. So that was a nice shift for me in a way. And yes, every minute, every day, every year, every month, there's always been some way or somehow that Baba is using the soul. And that is it. To be an instrument means to be available and not to think too much of, I must do this, I must do that. oh, Baba must use me like this and Baba must use me like that. No, can I just let be and watch how Baba uses me and be present? So when anything comes forward, just to say Haji, because in saying Haji, there's a lot of learning that takes place and there's a lot of growth that's embedded in there. So that was also a nice thing. And then I don't have to think too much, but then I remain very light. Um, and Baba can only really use me when I stay light and free. Because if I'm too busy in my head, then it's like hard work for him to get through um, and do what I need, how he wants to work through me. So I like that aspect of just staying light and let Baba work through me as I need to. Um, the next point that I wanted to raise as well, and that is something that Baba spoke in the recent Murli as well, and that is do not be afraid of the storms of Maya. Baba said Maya will come right till the end. And just to see it, it is just a cloud. It's not real. It is just a cloud. Whatever scenes in the drama emerge or sanskaras emerge, even within myself in a way, not to be afraid, but just to see it for what it is and to know it's coming to say goodbye. So I find that that is important. Um, not to make it big inside of me, but to make it small constantly within me. Because only when I make the scenes of drama and Maya small, then only can I really begin to feel that freedom of just being. And so for me, lightness is also about that. It's like letting Baba's love carry me and flying in that state, staying above it, but not being afraid of it. Sometimes the turbulence in the sky is quite hectic, but to have faith in your wings, to have faith in Baba's vision of the self, to have faith in that that Baba says drama is predestined and fixed. So I need to know my fortune is fixed and it is the best. It's it's what is going to give the soul the deepest sense of fulfillment. And so making effort from that perspective is important. And I think every day offers us this opportunity to really deepen this feeling and awareness of becoming more and more in tune with Baba, more and more in sync with Baba. And then what we begin to see is that when I'm, serving from that perspective and I'm connecting with Baba from that perspective, then it's like I really begin to see everything as just a miracle. It's like I love this idea that our fortune of this time is that we are the witnesses of God's miracles. That's our fortune. It's Baba's energy that's allowing for the transformation to happen. And yes, we are all part of that co-creative process with Baba, but it's our fortune to be witnesses of how Baba does this work in such an incognito, subtle way. And so really to keep the self in that awareness and reminding the self that corporeally what is happening will happen, but it will pass as well. There's a bigger picture that we have, and not to forget that bigger picture. That bigger picture, when I keep that awareness of who it is, that's, that beautiful song, Wings Beneath My, the wind beneath my wings. And that's it. When I keep that awareness of what is the energy that's holding me high, then I can go beyond um, the fragmentation of what I'm seeing below me, and just keeping that bigger picture and know that we are all okay. We will be okay. And there's a beautiful, beautiful drama that's unfolding in front of us. And our fortune is calling on us. In fact, this morning during morning class, I was just sharing with the class of a beautiful Borg message many, many years ago. And Baba had said, our perfect form is meeting our current form in the subtle region, and it's coming closer and closer and closer. And the perfect form is wanting to garland us as we're getting closer. And so that's just it. The blueprint of our perfection is there already. We're just taking those steps closer and closer and closer to it. And we're moving towards it. And even though sometimes there may be a little bit of a dip that I may feel within me, but just to know that what is my deeper reality, always go back to that bigger picture of knowing how precious I am to God, and what my real part is at that subtle level. So these were just some of the thoughts that I had in terms of creating this flying stage, and to stay above and to create that loving, light, subtle connection that is needed now. And so I don't know if there's some questions that anyone has to ask. I can take a few questions now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. It was such a powerful talk. Really, I was really touched by whatever you said. And also, I just had a thought because you said about Shivani, and we had a similar thing here in Greece. There was a sister coming from Aduban, and she was not allowed to come, and they rejected her visa. But we didn't have the thought of collective yoga as you did. So we couldn't make it, but now that was a big lesson for the Greek family, especially to be together uh, and trust the drama and Baba, and whatever you said was so important. And the thing that you said, how precious we are to Baba. We don't think about it. We're just doing things, and we're not, as you said, available, but we push ourselves to do things that, I mean, sometimes we say it's impossible to finish that, but we don't just relax and let drama and Baba use us. I don't see any questions here, uh, but uh, can you say a few more things about the last thing you said? Just be witnessing Baba's miracle. That is really very important. But why don't we let ourselves just witness, realize that we are witnessing Baba's miracle? Why we don't do it? You said that to us, but it's really very important. Why we don't do it?
Yeah, it's true in a way that um, we know it, but why we still get caught up in old patterns. And I think part of it is really our whole spiritual journey is about deepening our self-respect. And, Baba said in Sunday's Murli that it's the self-respect of your Brahmin life. It's not body conscious self-respect. And I think it's a very deep sanskara from the Copper Age, where we started measuring our sense of worth on the basis of what we do and the outcome of what we do. And we don't realize it, but we carry the sanskara into our Brahman life as well. And that's why many of us lose the balance between self-care and service and outer service, because we're still trying to hold our sense of value from the outcome of service. And that's it requires a lot of attention to realize that that's still happening. And so I think the more I realize this, the more I begin to understand that Baba will not love me any less if I don't fill up every moment of my day with a task. But it's like, what is it that Baba wants of me? He doesn't, I think it was Maureen Ben who one day shared in a class that Baba doesn't want hard workers. Baba wants yogi children. And that's it. A lot of what needs to be created and a lot of what needs to be done has to be done with a more subtle energy than what we tend to default on. So I think that's one of the things that to realize, that it's my subtle connection and yogic energy that Baba will use to do what he needs to do. And I think from that Shivani Ben's experience, what was the result of the yoga happening together? It wasn't only about uh, the visa coming through and the programs happening and all of that, but it was what happened in the family, because there was such a feeling of harmony and enthusiasm within the family, and it's still there. It's like a residue that got left, so I felt that that was the gift. It was the visa getting rejected twice was the gift, because it inspired something in the family, collectively with yoga, that created and has still, sustained a beautiful energy. So that's it. There's subtlety in the drama that's coming to us. So I think when we realize that Baba's work happens on that subtle level, that's when we will have the courage to feel confident enough that as I stay connected, as I remain in my true self, respect in a way, and just witness how Baba does what Baba needs to do. Yeah. And whether it's this instrument or any other instrument, there will be the same intoxication of seeing the miracle of God. Mm.
Perfect. Very good lesson for all of us. I don't see any other questions. Just drama is predestined. Drama has planned everything. Everything which is happening, it is because of drama. In that way, may we personalize drama such as a being to some extent.
Mhm. Yeah, it's interesting because Baba used to, I think it was Dari Janki who once shared that once Baba told her, "Why are you defaming my daughter?" And Daddy thought, "But I haven't been like saying anything bad about anyone." And then Baba said, "Why are you defaming my drama? Drama is also my daughter." So, in some way, it's like the soul, God, and drama. Those are like the three key aspects of reality, almost in a way. And as we connect with Baba and as we in sync with drama, I think there's a harmony that's being created then. We tend to think of drama outside of us, but I think it's so important to know that we are the co-creators of drama. Drama is the product of all of our sanskaras together. So it's a very much as we shift, it shifts, and it gives signals when we need to shift something in us. Yeah.
Wonderful. Uh, there's another. Today's slogan is all about this: serve with the power of mind, and you will receive a reward many times greater.
Yes. Yes, it's beautiful. There's an expression that goes, one and one doesn't make two, but makes 11, you know? And that's the whole thing, that when we serve with the mind and serve with that kind of yogic energy, the outcome is bigger than what we could have imagined. Yeah. It's Baba's outcome, not our limited sanskara's outcome.
Yes, I don't see any other question here. Uh, so we have some time. You can lead us to some meditation, and it was really very powerful and food for the soul for many of us or for all of us. Um, so we can do some meditation, and then you can give us some dristi. And please, everyone, turn on your cameras for the dristi at least. Okay.
Thank you so much, Maria, and thank you to the family. It's been lovely to be with all of you. And yes, it's a lovely opportunity for us to reflect together. So thank you.
We thank you. We thank you very much. It was really very nice to have you with us. I hope we'll see you again soon.
In Madhuban, why not? Yeah. Oh, great. Thank you. So take this moment to just center yourself. Reconnecting with that pure inner essence of your being. I, the soul, the child of God. For a moment, just stabilize yourself in this beautiful awareness. I am Baba's eternal, precious child. As I hold this awareness, very naturally, I begin to feel Baba's loving drishti on the soul. And the purity of Baba's love washes away whatever had accumulated on the soul. Baba's pure love cleanses my heart, leaving me feeling light and free. And deeply content. And as I feel Baba's presence so deeply, it gives me the confidence to surrender. And like a boat on the ocean, I just allow myself to surrender to the ocean of love. Just feeling Baba's unconditional love, gently holding the soul with such gentleness. I feel like I'm a precious jewel in a very special container held in Baba's hands. And that love awakens in me my original and eternal state of consciousness, that I am a powerful, pure soul. It's Baba's gentle love that helps the soul to return to this pure awareness and to feel completely safe, to feel completely free, and to feel complete in this pure love. And as I allow the self to embrace this vision that Baba has of me, of this unconditional love that Baba has for me, I feel Baba's love flowing in me and through me, so that from this place of love, I become an instrument for the world. So holding this awareness, I rest in this awareness and allow Baba's divine energy to heal the soul, to empower the soul, to transform the soul. Om Shanti.